She hadn't seen a soul in almost 6 months, not one person. Only the wind and the trees knew her name anymore. That's what it felt like. The old cottage on the hill had become her sanctuary, her prison, and her final hiding place from the world. Then one cold evening, just as she was stacking wood beside the fire, there was a knock on the door. 3 loud thuds that made her heart leap into her throat. And when she opened it, there he stood. A mountain of a man with snow on his hat, a baby in his arms, and eyes so full of exhaustion and quiet pleading that all she could whisper was, "Oh my God." Before we begin, let me say this. If you've ever believed in second chances, if you've ever wondered whether broken people can find their way back to the light, this story is for you. And if it touches you, even just a little, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with us till the end. Because sometimes, miracles knock when you least expect them. Eleanor Hayes had lived alone for 11 years. Once a promising music teacher in a small Texas town, she had vanished from everyone's radar after tragedy struck. Her husband died in a freak accident on their way back from a concert. A semi-truck lost control on the ice, and just like that, the man she'd shared her dreams with was gone. They never had children. Her family had long scattered. So Eleanor withdrew. She left the city, left her career, and retreated into the woods where her grandfather's abandoned cabin still stood. Over time, she grew used to the quiet. Her days were measured in coffee spoons and firewood stacks, knitting and baking, the occasional radio show from her old transistor. And every so often, she'd stare out the frosted window and whisper to no one, "If someone needs me, I'll still be here." That night, a blizzard had been rolling in. Eleanor was getting ready for a long, lonely evening when the knock came. He was massive, well over 6 feet, with broad shoulders and weather-worn skin. His coat was torn. Snow clung to his boots. But it was the baby that silenced her. Wrapped in a patched-up blanket, the little girl couldn't have been more than 10 months old. Her cheeks were red, her eyes sleepy. Eleanor instinctively reached out, but the man pulled her back with a protective grip. "I'm sorry," he rasped. "We've been walking for hours. I saw smoke from the chimney. We just need a place for the night. Please. Just one night." Eleanor's eyes welled up. "Of course," she said. "Come in." His name was Colton. He was a rancher from the western edge of the state. Or rather, he had been, until drought and debt forced him off his land. His wife died giving birth to their daughter, Daisy. And without work, without family, without anywhere left to turn, he started walking. Looking for something. He didn't even know what. Shelter. Hope. A sign. "I didn't mean to show up like this," he said later, his voice thick with guilt. "I just didn't know where else to go." But Eleanor wasn't listening to his apologies. She was staring at Daisy, who had fallen asleep in her arms, clutching her pinky finger like a lifeline. That night, Eleanor made soup. Colton slept on the couch, boots off but rifle by his side. And Eleanor stayed awake long past midnight, rocking the baby gently, staring into the fire, asking herself a question she hadn't dared ask in years. Why now? Days turned into weeks. The storm lasted longer than anyone predicted, burying the mountain roads under feet of snow. Eleanor insisted they stay until the weather cleared. Colton protested at first, but eventually relented. He chopped wood, fixed her roof, helped mend a broken fence out back. Every night, he cooked dinner. Every morning, she fed Daisy and told her old lullabies. It wasn't long before laughter returned to that house. One day, as they were sitting on the porch watching the deer pass through the field, Colton said quietly, "I haven't felt this kind of peace in a long time." Eleanor looked at him. "Neither have I, but the peace didn't last forever." When the snow melted, the world came calling again. A county official arrived. Someone had reported seeing smoke from a supposedly abandoned property. He asked who Colton was, and when he checked records, he found Colton had defaulted on medical bills and was wanted for questioning in a custody dispute. The official threatened to take Daisy unless Colton could prove he had a stable home, income, and proper care. Colton was furious. "She's all I have left," he told Eleanor, his voice shaking. I've worked myself into the ground trying to keep her safe. I won't lose her too. Eleanor stepped in before he could spiral. Then we'll fight, she said. You're not alone now. It was the first time in years she'd used the word we. They gathered documents, wrote letters, called old friends. Eleanor reopened her teaching license, offering lessons from the cabin. Colton began doing part-time ranch work for neighbors down the mountain. A judge eventually allowed Colton to stay with Daisy under one condition: he must have a stable home environment, co-signed by a guardian with experience and permanent residence. Eleanor stood up. I'll do it, she said. I'll be her guardian too. The first spring in that cabin was unlike anything Eleanor had ever known. Daisy took her first steps under a blooming dogwood tree. Colton built a new porch swing. Eleanor found herself humming again, then singing, then playing the piano Colton restored for her from an old barn. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, Colton took Eleanor's hand. I asked for one night, he said softly. But if it's not too much, can we stay forever? Tears filled her eyes. You already have. This isn't just a story about a lonely woman and a desperate man. It's a story about healing. About how people who've lost everything can still find a reason to keep going. About how love sometimes returns in the form of a knock on the door, or a baby in your arms. If you've ever felt forgotten, like your life paused after pain, remember Eleanor. Remember Colton. And remember that you never know when someone might need exactly what you still have left to give. So if this story moved you, click like, hit that subscribe button, and share it with someone who might need a little hope today. Because sometimes, all it takes is one open door to change everything.